Welcome everybody to the Broken Wings Racing League. This is round 3 at Portimao for the GT3 Championship. We got a pretty stacked lineup here with 32 drivers on the grid, all right now in practice as it's coming to an end right about now. And I think there's a little bit of overlap there on the white checkered flag there. And then we'll get on to qualifying. Just standard 10-minute qualifying, as well as the race. After that, 45 minutes. Just waiting to see who is the driver that gets out first. And that is Chris Stewart. And I think it goes without saying, this is a very exciting track. A lot of fast corners. Good straights. I think one of the most interesting aspects is that overall, from sector 2 to 3, it's just roaming hills. It's very beautiful. It's great to drive. I gotta say, one of the most interesting parts of the track in sector 2 is when you have that, you're going downhill right about here. As Chris Stewart's going to take us into this, I'm going to go on. You crest over this hill, going down. You stay hard on the throttle, going left. And then right here, you cut just over the cusp there. You have to brake. You have to figure out where your marker is. I still haven't found mine, that's for sure. I'd send it a little deep there myself, but just nice. Great inputs for Chris Stewart there. He was one of the faster drivers in practice, but it looks like he's letting another driver through. And he's about to get going. As it looks like he's let Justin Scott by. But we'll still stay on board with Chris Stewart. Like I said, he was one of the fastest drivers on the grid in practice. The times we're looking at here are 1:42. That would be the fastest if you could put it on that lap. What I've seen so far is there's only 4 drivers that were able to make it to the 142s, high 142s, 142.7 to the 142.9s. A lot of drivers from P5 to like P20, I believe, all running 143s, and then just a fine margin of hundreds of tenths there. So if you get a 143, low 143 is going to put you high in the top 10 for sure. One of the high 143s, you could be as far back as P20. A lot of guys past that are doing 144s, and then there's maybe like 1 or 2 stragglers that aren't hitting the 144s, but maybe like 145s, 146s. But not too many. I think it's going to be a lot of close racing at Portimao as people are still trying to understand the track, develop it. There's a lot of incidences in practice and crashes, people having to give it a lot, figure out where the limits of the track are, as Chris Stewart is the second driver to cross the line. Justin Scott goes 143.3, and then Chris Stewart does a 142.9, putting him provisional pole right now, as Peter Flanner just behind does a 143.1. And the times are going to keep shaking up. We have Austin McGill goes to 143 into P3. Justin Scott goes to P4. Chris Chitterling to P5. Elliot Burton to P7 now. Jacob Simmons crossed the line here. And, whoa! He was P2, but now he's P3. Simon Witten with a 143.1. Separated by 25 thousandths of a second. I mean, what a split there. Peter Flanner, who was the fastest driver in practice, is in P4 right now. Chris Chitterling in P7. Josh Willis in P8. Noah Hodgkinson in P9. Elliot Burton in P10. Christopher Daniel in P11 with a 144.2. Goes down to P12. Someone goes up. Jeff Kaufhold in P13. Brandon Renfro in 14. Craig Carroll in P15. Andrew Cody in P16. Charles Whedon in 17. Eric Rodriguez in 18. Bryce Bombach in 19. And let's see, we got Tyler Anderson here. Where's he at on his lap? Looks like Joshua Heron crossed the line. He goes to P18. We have Andrew Korstecki and Eric Rodriguez. Team Prosciutto Racing. I think there's something else into that. But David Flanagan to P12 as he crosses the line there. But Andrew Korstecki and Eric Rodriguez has set a time, so maybe he's just giving his teammate a little bit of a tow, help him out there as he's crossing the line. Where's Andrew Korstecki going to stack in the order? And he goes to P20, just above his teammate with a 144.6. And Tyler Anderson is about to cross the line. And what can he do? He goes to P7 with a 143.2. And we have Matt Best coming out of the final corner here. And he's crossing the line. He's going to take P16. As Kyle Howe crosses the line for P26, Jeremy DeMeza in P28. Andrew Cody, or Matt Best, P17. Andrew Cody improves his time and goes to P15. People I haven't mentioned yet is Dylan Maroney to P11. Darren Rutherford in P19. Joshua Heron improves his time and goes to P20. No other driver on the track. I think this is an outlap for that person. Trey Mistack's on an outlap. Well, we'll stay on board with Trey Mistack for right now. Taking a look and see if there's any drivers that might be able to improve upon their time. Chris Stewart is still P1 provisionally with a 142.8. Joshua Willis goes to P2 with a 142.9. No other driver has done that yet. There's only two on the grid. Simon Witten. Oh, still P4. Or still P3. Jacob Simon's P4. Austin McGill jumps up the ladder and goes to P5. Jacob Simmons crosses the line. And he takes P2 from Joshua Willis. Tyler Anderson's going to make something happen here. Noah Hodgkinson goes across the line, goes a little bit faster, goes to P12 with that. And Trey Mistack. Let's jump on board. He's got no time set on the board. And qualifying is coming to an end with it 2 minutes to go. He really needs to have a good lap in here because he's going to have enough time for one more lap, but it's fine margins to do so. And how will Trey Mistack stack up here? Right now, David Flanagan crosses the line to improve his time with a 143.9, goes to P13. Jeff Kaufhold also improves his time, goes to P14. Trey Mistack is on par for prediction of a 143. The tenths of that, though, is still up for debate as he's finally coming into the penultimate corner, down the start straight finish. Where's he going to be? And Trey Mistak pulls out a 144.2 that puts him in the P20. And he's still got enough time to put in one more lap. Matt Best crosses the line to go to P14, improves his time for 143.9. As it stands, Simon Witten here is going to be pulling off to the side there, aborting his lap. Austin McGill is 2/10 up right now. He's on his previous time. And 2-3 can make all the difference. Whoa! We got Peter Flanner, who just set the fastest time with a 142.7. That's Draft Punk Racing. Maybe go back to Austin McGill and see if he's able to improve anything. It's 2/10 is a lot. Even if he shakes off even more than that, Justin Scott overtakes Tyler Anderson for P7. If Austin McGill can even squeeze out 2/10 from this lap, that will improve his position from P6 to P4. As most other drivers on the grid have called it, Austin McGill has not. He's finally rounding out. Elliott Burton crosses the line to take overtake a couple of drivers for P12. And Trey Mistak crosses the line and goes to improve his time with a P13. Austin McGill goes fastest. Austin J. McGill with a 142.6, and Jacob Simmons goes faster, and he goes to P2 right behind him, separated by a 1/10. Wow, I did not see that coming. Peter Flanner was the fastest driver in practice and just did great. 142.7, but outmatched with Jacob Simmons here with a 142.737. The incomprehensible amount of difference between those two drivers for P2 and 3 is insane. This really goes to Austin McGill, though. What a lap for him. The last lap, barely making it happen. I mean, qualifying was over. Then we have Chris Stewart in P4, Josh Willis in P5, Simon Witten in P6, Justin Scott in P7, Tyler Anderson in P8, Darren Rutherford in P9, Brandon Renfro in P10, Chris Chitterling in P11, Elliott Burton in 12, Trey Mistak in P13, Jeff Koffold in P14, Noah Hoskinson in P15, David Flanagan in P15. And 1 second, folks, as I adjust here. And then David Flanagan's in P16, Matt Best in P17, Dylan Maroney in P18, Andrew Cody in P19, Eddie Layton in 20, Christopher Daniel in 21, Craig Carroll in 22, Alexander Callow in P23, Joshua Heron in P24, Eric Rodriguez in 25, Andrew Korstecki in P26, and Charles Whedon in P27, Bryce Bombach in P28, Kyle Howe in P29. Man, sorry about that. Jeremy Demeza in P30, Ryan Avila in 31, and Jose Wen in 32. This is going to be a really close battle, folks. Most of the field was in the 143s or 144s, separated by just a couple of tenths here and there, up and down that. It's going to be very close racing, no doubt. As I believe we're going to get a full out lap before the start of this race. So we have one driver that has not popped, a couple drivers that haven't settled their cars yet onto the grid. And it's all about this driver here, Austin McGill, really just put out a flyer with nothing left to go in that Rexy car. Wonderful livery. And we have one driver who's in the pit lane. But all other drivers seem to be accounted for. 2 drivers. The top 5 drivers all set a 142. Be interesting to see how the start of this race plays out. I have not witnessed a full GT3 grid race here at Portimao. Did a lot of practicing and was in the IMSA practices, but you know, GTPs are a whole different beast than just racing GT3s. They will send it on you whenever they feel like it. I think that's the motto of a GTP. Move, my race is more important than yours. But not here. At Broken Wing Racing League, this is a GT3 championship. So there are no speed demons on the road for these guys to contend with. As we have a couple of the Valhalla Racing drivers right next to each other. And I don't even believe it's the same Valhalla team. Darren Rutherford is not teammates with that other driver. I forget. I forget his teammate. I think it's Matthew Wyckoff is with someone else. How'd they get an updated list for the team rankings there? Groupings, I should say. And as the pack is scrunching up and the safety car goes off, this is going to be the start of round 3 at Portimao. And they're off! Austin McGill gets a running start. Already 2/10 ahead. Jacob Simmons is going to watch out for the inside. But look at that. Joshua Willis is already overtaking Peter Flanders for inside the corner there. And might have P3 here. And does so. Chris Stewart not yet backed out of that, but he's going to have to watch out because he has Peter Flanders right behind him. And there goes Joshua Willis overtaking 2 drivers at the start. And further back, we have a driver on the inside there, car number 69 of Justin Scott, overtaking Darren Rutherford. But is the move over? It is not. Darren Rutherford has the inside line. He is P8. They swap positions, but barely. Darren Rutherford covers down the inside line still and is able to keep that position. Justin Scott stays P9. That's 2 positions lost, actually, as Tyler Anderson and Darren Rutherford had made up in that scramble. Chris Cheerling up 1 position already. Maybe he's going to take another one. Let's see. Elliot Burton stayed P12, might lose P12. He has Brandon Redfield right there, just ahead, already 1 position down. And they are going tight together. And this is a great opening lap here, folks. It looks like Elliot Burton might finally have it. That's 2 positions lost for Brandon Renfro. And Elliot Burton through. Is Trey Mistak going to make anything happen here off the opening lap as it's coming to an end? And we're going to lap 2. Maybe he'll make a move. But this is... I don't even know if this is the move. We did see it before, but he is not in the tow directly. And whoa! Somebody making that look a little hairy. Matt Best goes side to side with Noah. I'm not sure who that. With Noah Hodgkinson. And that is the Porsche versus Ferrari there. Noah Hodgkinson is car number 14. Is going to be losing a position there to Matt Best. That's P14 for Matt Best. Noah Hodgkinson, who started P15. That's up 3 positions for Matt Best. Noah Hodgkinson is P15. He has not been overtaken, actually. He started P15 and has not gone up or down just yet. And that driver that I was kind of concerned about was Eddie Layton. It looked like he... not Eddie Layton. Dylan Maroney. This driver's up 1 position. The driver ahead of him, Jeff Kaufhold, is down 2 positions. And it's really close. Look at this. We have Alexander Callow, who's P19 at the moment. It's up 4 positions. Just behind him is Christopher Daniel, up 1 position. Eddie Layton ahead of them in the Mercedes is up the 2 positions. And we have Eric Rodriguez, car number 323. And his teammate behind him, Andrew Korostecki, both up 4 positions, P21 and P22 for these 2 drivers. And Alexander Callow covering off the inside from car number 92 of Christopher Daniel, P20. Really having to defend there. They're almost side by side. And just looking down the order here, we have Joshua Herron in P26. Overtakes Bryce Bomback for P25. And that's actually 1 position gained for Joshua Herron. And Noah Hodgkinson is looking fairly clean right now. Only a couple of tenths separating him from Matt Best. I wonder if he's going to be able to have enough of a toe to make a move on Matt Best. But could this be the lap? He is the closest driver to any other driver on the grid right now. Is something going to happen here? I kind of pulls away on the straight and kind of figure that's going to happen with a Porsche versus Ferrari advantage. But in some of these corners, can he make up the speed and the time? Or I'm sorry, can he make up the time speed? And it just looks like he's slipping away ever so slightly there. There's Andrew Cody overtaking Jeremy DeMezza. P29. And David Flanagan, a little offline there. He's going to overtake him as well. Oh. Oh no. I didn't curse this man at all. He was having a clean race. And a little bit of dirt goes a long way into the barrier. Goes Noah Hodgkinson. And that is P30 down in the bottom for Noah Hodgkinson. You hate to see it, folks. That was a very good start of a race for that driver, as Noah Hodgkinson is able to make one position up and go to P29 off of Jeremy DeMeza there. David Flanagan, I'm not sure what happened to this driver, but he is down 12 positions. Noah Hodgkinson 14. So definitely some incidents that occurred. Going back into P1 here. The battle for P1. Austin McGill is holding a steady lead from Jacob Simmons by 3/10. Kind of how the start of this race went. He got a little bit of gap, and he's kept it for most of this race so far. Joshua Willis just straggling behind by 1 second to P2. Looks like he might be able to reel it back in there. Chris Stewart behind in P4. Looks like he was able to maintain his distance from Peter Flanner, who's a second back in P5. Followed by Simon Witten, who's P6. About 8/10 between him and Peter Flanner, who's ahead of him, and Tyler Anderson's 2 seconds behind P6 in P7 there. And that's Tyler Anderson and Darren Rutherford in Valhalla Racing. 2 separate teams of Valhalla, and I don't even think these are same driver combos. I'll have to look into that one. Justin Scott in P9, only down 2 positions from the start of this race. Only 2/10 off of Valhalla Racing. Followed by Chris Chitterling in P10. And Brandon Renfro, a full 2 seconds back in P11 with Elliot Burton. Also Draft Punk Racing. His teammate sitting in P4, Peter Flanner. Oh. As we go back on board. Just kidding, folks. On my timing screen, it showed that those 2 drivers had swapped places. That is not the case. Back to Trey Mistak, only 6/10 off of P12. Matt Best is P14, and he's about 1.4 seconds back. Jeff Koffold in P15, about 1 second back from P14. Eddie Layton kind of has a little train behind him. He's got in P16 with Dylan Maroney, Christopher Daniel, and Eric Rodriguez, followed by Alexander Callow in P20. And there's an unfortunate mishap that happens right here, so we'll take a look at it. Looks like Andrew Korsecki goes down the inside line, and they make contact, and that is positions lost for a move. Yeah. And Andrew Korsecki was let's say he was P21 or 20. He's down to P23, so I think he could still claw this back. He's got Charles Whedon ahead of him. Oh. In P22, and Joshua Heron in P24. And back to that, you got Alexander Callow, who was not affected by that little racing incident. With Craig Carroll behind in P21, 1.4 seconds difference there. And further back, we have Bryce Bomback making a move down the inside line. Is he's going to go through? Who knows? Car number 78 of Andrew Cody is battling it out with Bryce Bomback. Car number 29 we're on board with here. It's a 25 in the header board. But no, it looks like Noah Hodgkinson is going to try to get involved in this fight as he goes fairly standard on that. But oh, this is a trick of the angle there. Bryce Bomback just really far back. Definitely lost out some time to Andrew Cody with a very decent move. It's unable to keep it and stick it, and now Noah Hoskinson looks to be overtaking him, and he could possibly. So they're going to go side by side in the next corner. Is it decided then? It is still not. David Flanagan in that all-black Porsche, and this is a really hardy defense for Bryce Bomback as he's now been overtaken, but he's going to try to stick it down the inside line. Stay straight. Oh, he moves over there. What's David Flanagan going to do? Is he going to make a move? Oh, and he dives down the inside! He dives down the inside, and that is a crash. Yikes. And he was having a fairly good race there. And that is down to the last position for David Flanagan, and Bryce Bomback doesn't have to worry too much there. One of the only Audis on the grid. He's still actually in good shape. He's up one position from the start of this race. Joshua Heron, also a driver, up one position at the start of this race. And we have Eric Rodriguez. Oh. Goes ahead to P17. Actually, you're just going to pull that back. Oh. Oh. Sorry, folks. Said, let's go Eddie. Let's find Eddie Layton is in P16. And he's got Jeff Koffold about almost 3 seconds ahead of him. And Eric Rodriguez 2.6 seconds behind. And that is a train. Eric Rodriguez leading the train. It was Eddie Layton, but he's pulled away from these drivers. Christopher Daniel up 3 positions. Eric Rodriguez is actually up 8 positions. So really fine drive for Eric Rodriguez of Prosciutto Racing. And Alexander Callow up 4 positions. Dylan Maroney in the looks like a Tesla Trident. Is that Trident? Oh, Tesla looks like a Tesla T, but maybe I think that's Trident. I think it says Trident. Well, Dylan Maroney is car number 45. He is in P20. He's only down 2 positions. Craig Carroll, one of the owners of the league, he is in P21, who's up 1 position. And Andrew Gorstecki, who's clawed back a few positions. He's still up 4 from the start of this race. He's just had a little bit of a racing incident. And back on board here is with Christopher Daniel. Is any of these drivers here going to be making something happen? Oh, as we have Elliot Burton in car number 165. And Brandon Renfro going side by side down the start straight finish. And is this going to go to Elliot Burton? He's got the upper hand, and he makes the move, and it sticks! And he slides off the track! Oh no! And I spoke too soon. The stick was not stuck, and he went off. That rear end went, and what an impressive move. Set him back a few positions. Brandon Renfro is counting. It is just probably saying to himself, we take those, because the move was on and it looked like he was going to lose that position. He's still only down one position now from P10. He's in P11. Trey Mistak is just behind 1.2 seconds there in the Ferrari. That yellow and black Ferrari, I should add, it is very beautiful looking. Matt Best behind by 2.6 seconds. Elliot Burton is going to have to claw back a lot here. That was, he's got to worry about his tires. They're probably hot after the spin, so he's got to just really focus and, oh no. We're on board with Darren Rutherford, who's in P8 at the moment, and he slammed in the back of another Valhalla Racing driver, and he is off the track. What? That is not great for him. He is down to P15 from P8. And a driver that benefited from this is Brandon Renfro, who is now sitting P10 for where he started the race in P10. Again, probably saying to himself, we take those. Because consistency is what Brandon Renfro is all about. And if he spins after I said that, it's not on me. Whoa. Somebody else spun, though, and that was Tyler Anderson. And again, Brandon Renfro goes to P9, Trey Mistak into P10. Tyler Anderson only loses 2 positions there, folks, from P7. Oh, sorry, 3 positions. And is down into P11. Unfortunate mishap. Losing the rear is... I mean, I could hear it when it was queuing off. I thought Brandon Renfro was in trouble for a second. I thought he was going to lose the rear. I heard the rear gone. But that was Tyler Anderson. And Brandon Renfro in P9, separated by 1.9 seconds to Chris Chitterling. Actually, no. 4/10. This is going to shake up. He's only 2 seconds back? 2 seconds back from Chris Chitterling, and about half a second from Trey Mistak. Last lap for Trey Mistak was a 1:44.3. Brandon Renfro's was a 1:44.6. Definitely get to see a battle happening between these two, as it looks like Trey Mistak is just going to be reeling in Brandon Renfro lap after lap, as we still got plenty of time for things to shake up between these two drivers. And Craig Carroll really getting close to Alexander Callow, and maybe that's a defensive move for Alexander Callow, but at least it looked like the angle. It looked like one. And nothing quite yet from Craig Carroll. So we'll take a look at Kyle Howe. who's in P27. David Flanagan. Oh. Chris Treterling is the first driver out of all the drivers to go into the pit lane. He was P. He says he was P10. Not quite sure if that was the case. He was P11. No, Tyler Anderson was P11. But in any case, he's down to P24 at the moment. Craig Carroll is also went into the pit lane. Bryce Bombach is crossing the Star Straight finish. Where's that going to put him? Chris Schitterling is all the way down in P. He comes out behind all those drivers. So Bryce Bombach, who's in P26. And there is one mandatory pit stop. Chris Schitterling is now on an out lap. He's got a couple drivers ahead of him. But actually, what's even more impressive here is that Chris Schitterling has a 5-second gap to the drivers ahead. So he's just got to put in a good out lap and then start to reel it in. He's got clean air. He doesn't have to worry about anyone else on the track behind him, in front of him. I think this might be a good move. An early strat called by Chris Schitterling. We're going to look at this with anticipation to see whether or not he made a smart decision. Back on board with our race leader in the Rexy livery of Austin McGill, sitting in P1 with a 7/10 gap to Justin Simmons in P2. Josh Willis behind in P3. And Trey Mistek has gone into the pit lane to start his mandatory pit stop. So we're going to be seeing a big difference here. Elliott Burton and Matt Best are going side by side. They're battling it out for position. P10, who's it going to go to? Matt Best is up 7 positions. Elliott Burton is up 1 position from the start of this race. They are going side by side through a couple of these corners. And it looks like Darren Rutherford has caught up to Jeff Kaufhold. And that was not the same driver he nailed, but his teammate of Valhalla Racing. Both Valhalla Racing. Elliott Burton ahead of Matt Best. And I don't think Matt Best is going to try to fight this back at the moment in time. He's got to worry about these 2 drivers behind him, though. And they have closed the distance because of that battle that was happening in front of them. And this might not be the moment in time it's going to happen just yet. But these drivers are really, really close. It's going to go to Jeff, or Darren Rutherford. No, sorry, Jeff Koff. Oh, it's not even up for debate here, as those 2 drivers stay out and Matt Best goes into the pit lane. Now we got to look and see where Chris Schitterling is. Chris Schitterling is he's P23 at the moment. And where he's at on track, is that going to correlate to getting ahead of some of these drivers? Yeah, down the final corner. Trey Mistek is out ahead of Chris Schitterling. So not sure if that really benefited him. Trey Mistek was P10. Trying to do a little mental math here. I think that worked out for the favor of Chris Schitterling, as they are P1 and 2 on the stint. All these other drivers have to come in eventually. And I'm not sure where that shakeup will be. Austin McGill. Actually, no, back onto Darren Rutherford makes the move onto Jeff Koffhold, but is it over? I think it is. He gets ahead. Brandon Renfro goes into the pit lane. Josh Willis goes in the pit lane. We have Austin McGill still out. Jacob Simon still out. Peter Flanner in P3, he's still out. Simon Witten still out. Justin Scott still out. Tyler Anderson still out. Elliot Burton is still out. Darren Rutherford still out. Jeff Christopher Daniel, who's up 11 positions in P13 at the moment, but that's going to get shaken down the line there. Exactly with Eric Rodriguez, who's still out. Chris Stewart is ahead of Joshua Willis after the pit lane, after the pit stops. So it goes to show you that the swap for P3 and 4 has happened in the pit lane. Maybe he didn't put as much gas as the other driver did. I'm not sure what the holdup there would be, but there is a sizable gap here of a couple seconds, it looks like, between these two drivers. And we're looking at Chris Stewart, who has to benefit the most out of this. He was P4. He's overtaken P3, but does that mean he's going to take P2? Jacob Simmons, who was P2, stays out. Austin McGill is in the pit lane. Is this going to work to the advantage of Chris Stewart? Is he going to somehow overtake the leader with a better pit stop? It could be close. Could be up for debate. I think it'll be really interesting to see what happens. He's down the start straight finish in this final penultimate corner. What's going to happen? Where is our leader, Austin McGill? He has kicked it back out. And Chris Stewart is going fast right now. Oh my. Is he ahead? No, he's not. Because Austin McGill is still ahead by 2 seconds to P2. The shakeup's still occurring as Jacob Simmons has not gone in, but he's gonna have to go in. He can't continue to do the overcut. And you could even see him in the background. P2 provisionally is right there. I don't see it any other way. There's 7 drivers who have not gone in the pit lane, and they're all P1 through P7. Austin McGill is P8. It looks like he's not doing well, but he's going to overtake these drivers. The gap right now to P1 is a 42 seconds. It's 39, 38, 37. He's actually closing in on that gap to P1 right now. Now it says it's 32. I think it's just getting better and better. Because there he goes. Jacob Simmons is now against the clock on Austin McGill. He's gone in the pit lane. Austin McGill is closing in on P1. And is this driver not even stopped yet? Still rolling to stop. This is not going to work out in Jacob Simmons' field. He's still not stopped. He's still rolling. And you can see some drivers just came in and out. He's still rolling. What is happening here, folks? There's another driver who's just got in the pit lane. He's still rolling. And I just don't know what to make of this. And there's another driver who's just stopped and gone. Gotten their gas. There he goes. He's lifted up off the ground. He can't be changing tires, can he? Oh no, disastrous pit stop for Jacob Simmons as Austin McGill flew by. I can't even tell you where he is. Jacob Simmons is P24 and he spins. Let's take a look at that again. He says he's going down the exit here. He was P1, or he was P1, was P2, and then just spins the rears there. And he's going to have to battle in contention for P25, P24 there. Austin McGill still ahead in P1 by 3.2 seconds, 3 seconds to Chris Stewart, who did make out pretty well in the pit stop strategies. Simon Witten, who was P4, P5, I believe he's P5. He's made out in this scenario as well. He goes to P3. He's up 3 positions. Joshua Willis, who was P3 before the pit stop shakeup. He's got Peter Flanner in P5 right behind him. Chris Stewart, who was behind Joshua Willis, he's lost 2 positions in the pit stop strategy. That's unfortunate. It happens, though. Some people have, really good outlaps, really bang it out there. Peter Flanner looks to be having one because he was actually a little bit farther behind before the pit stop change mix-up. And you got Justin Scott in P6, Trey Mistek in P7, Chris Chitterling. I think it actually did pan out for him. He's P8 right now. He wasn't in the teens. As far as I remember, he was P11 or 12. He's now P8 after the pit stops. That's up. He's up 3 positions. Brandon Renfro in P9, still P9. And Elliot Burton has been behind him in P10. Tyler Anderson down 3 positions off the start. That's not much difference has changed there. He's P11 here. He did have a spin, but he's clawed it back. I'm not sure when that was, maybe in the pit stop strategy, but overall, it's not a bad result so far for Tyler Anderson, as Darren Rutherford also down 3 positions for the start of this race, but he's in P12, and he's had some contact with some other driver, and he's actually not that far. It's not that bad. Oh, no. We have Alexander Callow, who was in P18 at the time. Yikes. Oh, no. Gets it stopped, though. He drops down to P25 at the moment. And he could lose that to David Flanagan. And Craig Carroll, who was Ooh, look at that. They just touch. I believe that is Andrew Korostecki. And he goes to, and it's P21 for him. He's down a couple positions off of that. I'm not sure if it was just off that, but he's definitely down. Because Andrew Korostecki's in P18 at the moment. That would have been the car he had the contact with. And there's Noah Hoskinson just behind Joshua Herron in P19. Noah in P20. Whoa! As Craig Carroll has a little bit of a blip. Oh no. And is the move on for Noah Hodgkinson at this part of the track? Goes to the inside line, and he takes it. And that's P19 for him against Joshua Herron. and the Mercedes BMW. Mercedes BMW. Mercedes AMG. I'm sorry, folks. I haven't had any water. I'm going to look back on Alexander Callow, who was still P25 and just, has a bad moment there in turn 1, and I think that's when he calls it, because he is out of this race. Jeremy DeMeza, who was in P30, just overshoots his braking and just tries to get out of the way there. As the lap traffic. He is the lap traffic, and that was P4 and 5. And Noah Hoskinson still ahead. Andrew Korostecki in P18. Eddie Layton in P17. Only, and kind of in his race of his own right now. Eddie Layton has a 1.4 second gap behind him of Andrew Korostecki. And Eric Rodriguez, Andrew Korostecki's teammate, is ahead of Eddie Layton by 6.6 seconds. But another driver who's just kind of in a class of his own. He's got the driver behind by 6 seconds, and he's got Christopher Daniel in P15, 6.6 seconds ahead of him. P15, Matt Best ahead of Christopher Daniel by 0.4. Jeff Koffhold in P13. Darren Rutherford and Tyler Anderson are battling it out. And Tyler Anderson was P11, and on the start straight finish, Darren Rutherford takes that position, P11. As he keep it together through these next couple corners, really solidify the position, stay ahead, and push. Now we have Peter Flanner still on the attack. He's 3/10 back on Joshua Willis. I don't think the heat is really on just yet, though, because Joshua Willis is not taking an unconventional line to defend against the driver in P5 of Peter Flanner, car number 63. And then with just 3.5 laps remaining, 4 laps, don't foresee change up in the major part of the order. Just going quickly at Austin McGill here, who's run a clinic on just maintaining pace and consistency out of this driver. Really showing. I don't even think he might have the fastest lap here. He's done a 1:43.3 as his best lap. And that might actually be the fastest lap. Looks like a couple down, slightly faster. As you see on the top of the screens there, the fastest lap goes to the person with the purple name. It doesn't look like it's Austin McGill, but his last lap was slower than his previous. That's why it's yellow. Just showing the timings of the last lap there. Chris Stewart behind by 3.5 seconds in P2. Simon Whitten in P3, who's up 3 positions from the start of this race. Joshua Willis is up 1 position start of this race. He's P4. And further back, we have Christopher McDaniel. Jeff Koffhold and Darren Rutherford. Tyler Anderson, I should say. We're battling out. And the move goes to Jeff Koffhold, who's in P12 over Tyler Anderson. It's another position loss for Tyler Anderson. Whoa. Oh. And the driver who was sitting in P4. Oh! What on earth? Oh, and the rear is gone. That is unfortunate. And he has gone in the pits, and that is the end of his night for Joshua Willis. That is unfortunate, folks. You hate to see it. Peter Flanner inherits P4 with the race basically ending in a couple laps to lose it on the final corner. That's unfortunate. And I'm sure Peter Flanner, who was trying to gain some momentum to make a move on Joshua Willis, probably just saying we take those. Because you definitely take those. That's you didn't have to do much. So you'll take it. You inherit a good spot. P4. That's only one position lost at the start of this race for Peter Flanner. He started P3. He's P4 right now. Elliot Burton, who's up 3 positions at the start of this race, now to P9. He's on the back of Brandon Renfro there. And we've seen a couple of these Lamborghinis make a move into turn 1. I don't believe it's going to happen at this moment. It's not quite there just yet. Matt Bass and Christopher Daniel are battling it out with Tyler Anderson just behind. Who's going to make out in this exchange? Matt Bass down 1 position from that. The move is not quite on just yet. And then hopping on board with Craig Carroll and Joshua Herron might be battling out for position here. Joshua Herron was ahead. It looked like Craig Carroll tried to make a move. It didn't work out. That might be the white flag. There used to be a guy waving a flag. And they fired the guy. But I believe this is the final lap. As we have Trey Mistack and Justin Scott really closer than ever. Can Trey Mistack make a position up? He's up 7 positions so far at the start of this race, putting him in P6. That's actually a really good drive for him after starting outside the points. Sorry, outside the top 10. And Austin McGill just has a few more corners to go. To really solidify this, he is 3 seconds up from his rival of Chris Stewart. And no mistakes out of the penultimate corner. As the race ender, it looks to be It is. Austin McGill in P1, finishing out a wonderful race. Chris Stewart in P2, Simon Whitten in P3, Peter Flanner in P4, Justin Scott crosses the line to take P5. Trey Mistek did not overtake him, and he goes to P6. Chris Chitterling in P7, Brandon Renfro in P8, Elliot Burton in P9, Darren Rutherford in P10, Jeff Kaufhold in P11, Christopher Daniel in P12, Matt Best in P13, Tyler Anderson in P14. Eric Rodriguez is going to cross the line to take P15 with 10 positions gained from P25 to P15 for Eric Rodriguez. What a show from him. Noah Hodgkinson in P16. Eddie Layton in P17. Up 3 positions. Andrew Korostecki up 8 positions in P18. Joshua Heron up 5 positions in P19. Craig Carroll up 2 positions in P20. Jacob Simmons crosses the line to take P21 from Dylan Maroney in P22. Andrew Cody in P23. Charles Whedon in P24. Kyle Howe in P25. Drivers that have already crossed the line is Bryce Bomback in P26. Jeremy DeMesa in P27. Joshua Willis goes to P28. Unfortunate for that driver. That incident at the penultimate corner puts him in P28. David Flanagan, P29, and Alexander Callow in P30. It went well until it didn't. Yes, and that's how it goes sometimes. And Austin McGill in the Rexy livery. What a drive for this driver. Really kept the pace and the momentum forward. Really not having to worry about his pit stop strategy. On an unfortunate pit stop for Jacob Simmons, who was really a strong contender in the top 5 that was battling it out there. And that's all, folks. We'll see you next week. Same time as always. And appreciate you watching.